4 years ago, I decided to go to music college, expecting that I would learn everything it takes to record like Charlie Puth or Post Malone or whoever it is on the top 40 list. I took all the classes, paid a lot of money, and I don't have much to show for it. Until now. If you're inspired to record music, podcast, or any audio, let me inspire you to do it correctly. This is the Boomers and Zoomers Guide to Recording. It's important to understand the technology behind recording before you can do it properly. So today we're going to talk about the audio interface. It's probably the most essential component in the audio recording process. An audio interface is external hardware that converts analog audio signals into digital waveforms. When we sing, we produce vibrations known as sound waves. If we sing into a mic, our sound waves vibrate the diaphragm and coil of the microphone, and that signal is sent to the audio interface. The audio interface then converts that signal into a bunch of numbers that make a digital audio waveform. This all happens within milliseconds, and that's all thanks to the audio interface. Though mostly all interfaces are made to do the same job, they are not all made the same. Before you purchase an audio interface, you should check the specs to make sure you're getting a high quality device. The first things you should check is the sample rate and bit rate. A sample rate is the number of audio samples or lines of digital audio the device can process in 1 second. Sample rates are measured in kilohertz, and 1 kilohertz is equal to 1,000 samples per second. A low sample rate would mean that less audio would be sampled or processed over time. A high sample rate allows for audio to be processed more frequently. Remember that sound waves travel at frequencies, and we usually call those pitches. Low notes travel slower, meaning that there's less data to capture at the peak and the trough of the wave. High notes travel faster, meaning there's more peaks and troughs to collect. Think of the highest note you can sing. That's a pretty high frequency, and there's a lot of data to be captured. According to the Nyquist-Shannon theorem, our sample rate would have to be twice that highest frequency in order to get the same sound reconstructed. So if we were to record a song and the highest frequency in that song was 20 kilohertz, we would need a sample rate of 40 kilohertz recording just so we can hear it back correctly. In most recording softwares, you can pick the sample rate, and it usually starts at 44.1 kilohertz. This probably means that your audio interface should record at least double of that. Most of the devices you'll find in the market can record at 96 kilohertz sample rate. To summarize all of this, the higher the sample rate, the better. That rule also applies to bit rates. Bit rates decide how many ones and zeros, or data, is contained in each audio sample. This is why most audio interfaces have the capability to record at 24-bit. 16 to 24 bits is a good area to record around, and of course, the higher the bit rate, the higher quality recording you're going to get. Now that we've covered the internals of the audio interface, we can focus on the externals, the most important component in every interface. The inputs. There are technically 3 types of common audio inputs. XLR inputs, also referred to as microphone inputs, quarter-inch inputs, which are referred to as instrument inputs, and finally, almost every interface I've seen now uses combo jacks, which allows for both XLR and instrument cables to be used in the same jack. Most interfaces can have from 1 input all the way up to 24. Think about how many microphones or instruments you'll need to plug in at once to record. So now that we have all this information about interfaces, I think we could take a break and go shopping. Here's my 5 picks for audio interfaces you might buy, priced low to high. Starting my lists is the Native Instruments Complete Audio 2. You can find this one for around $140 US. This USB device has the capability of recording at 192 kilohertz sample rate and 24-bit. It's a good entry device that will get the job done, but I recommend reading some reviews from other users out there. In the same price range, we have the Behringer Euphoria UMC 202. This device can record at 24-bit 192 kilohertz sample rate. So what makes those 2 devices different right now? A lot of the technology in audio interfaces will make them quite indistinguishable. This is why I like to pick brands that have good customer service or maybe offer some plugins or extras when you purchase their devices. Number 3 on our list used to be one of the most famous devices when it came to the introduction of audio interfaces. The PreSonus AudioBox i2 comes in around $160. This device is such a plug-and-play option that you can actually even use it with an iPad. I like it because of its portability, something that's very light and easy to handle and gets through the airport totally fine. If you're looking for a portable device that has more than 2 inputs, I'd be looking at Focusrite. The Scarlett Focusrite 18i8 is around $400 and has 8 inputs, still fits into a backpack, and does the job very well. This device actually requires external power, meaning you'll have to find a power source beyond the USB in order to record. And to round out our audio interface shopping, our highest quality device would be the Universal Audio Apollo Twin. This comes in at $800 and it is a premium device for a premium price. This device is special because it has onboard processing, meaning it has a sound card that processes all of the data transferred in and out of it. This takes the burden off of your computer or software in processing things like reverb or compressors, delays. It's almost like zero latency when you record with this device. So now that we're done shopping and you might have picked a device, there's a few things you need to know about the device in order to operate it correctly. Once you've plugged in a microphone to your device, you'll need to set the volume or gain at which that microphone is recorded. The gain sets how much your audio signal is amplified into your recording software. If you turn the gain all the way up, the interface will receive so much data about each frequency recorded that each audio sample will reach its maximum bit depth. We call this clipping. The device and your software will miss valuable data about each sample and start to clip off the top parts of your frequencies. This is why it is so important and so much better to record at a moderate gain. When you record, focus on the decibel meter, making sure that you leave what producers call headroom. This means to keep your recording gain high enough to be heard, but kept under a threshold in case you go over. Think of it like a stoplight. If you're in the green, you're good to record. If you're in the yellow, be cautious because you're close to clipping. If you record into the red, this means that you're probably going to clip off data. The best thing you can do to set your gain is to sing or talk into your microphone at the highest volume you think you'll hit. Watch your decibel meter and make sure you're filling up the green and just about to touch the yellow. Almost every interface will also have an extra button known as the 48-volt phantom power button. This enables the use of condenser microphones. I'll explain microphones in next week's video, but quickly, some microphones are dynamic, meaning they don't require an electric charge to be used. Other mics are condenser, and that means the coil requires an electric charge to receive signals. Every device I've seen has this button by now, but if your interface does not have 48-volt capabilities, then you might not be able to use a condenser microphone. Finally, you'll want to use your audio interface as an output as well. Most devices allow for monitoring through headphones and through 2 output jacks. The main monitor knob will control the studio monitors or speaker that you connect to your device. Most professionals will use studio monitors to mix their recordings. When you're recording, you should use headphones, and that means plug them into the headphone output. This will allow you to record to the output of your recording software, just like singing along to a track. You'll be able to hear anything you play on your computer's audio. There can be some latency or delay depending on your software and your computer capabilities. This is why most software has low latency recording mode, and I suggest changing some of your recording and playback settings to make sure there's no latency. If you're not recording to a track or any computer audio, I suggest using the direct monitoring that some interfaces have. This allows you to hear exactly what your inputs are collecting. So now that you know everything you need to know about audio interfaces, I'd love to hear what your first recording sounds like. Share a link in the comments of anything you want our community to hear. Next week, we'll be covering microphones and the 5 microphones I recommend for starters to use. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. I hope this video helps you in your recording journey, and I can't wait to hear what you've recorded.